Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how I do a stacked monogram text effect. I'm going to be sticking strictly with light burn today and not using my laser. So I've been using light burn, and I'm not right now concerned about the dimensions of my wood, or my design that I'm going to be putting on some piece of wood or other material. That I can adjust as I go along. I just created this box shape just to have some frame of reference. Now these steps that I use can be adapted to whatever design that you desire to use, or you want to see if you can do this yourself. There's videos out here on the internet and YouTube that show you how to do something very similar to this, and that's where I got started when I was doing this. So let's just dive right into light burn and see how this is going to work. So the first thing I need is a monogram letter, usually the last letter of the family name. In this case, I'm going to be doing Fred and Wilma Flintstone, so I'm going to use the letter F for Flintstone. And I'm going to use my Rockwell font, that's fine. And I just shrink it down here and go, oops. And go, oops, my font again, sorry, F. And I want that in fill mode, so I have to turn my wireframe back on. There we go, or wireframe off. I can make it a little bigger, I think. I want to get it so that's pretty good. I could probably go 110, fine. There we go. Yeah, and I want to center that on my frame of reference box. So there's F for Flintstone. Next, I want the names Fred and Wilma, and I'm going to need another font. I like using a script style font. So what script style fonts do I have that I've used recently? Oh, this Bluebell works fine. And I think I'm going to chop that down to about 30 and see how that works. And Fred and Wilma. Okay. Now, normally when you bring text in, the letters are all spaced out quite a bit. To make this effect work well, you want to shrink the spacing between the letters, this horizontal space. Now I had it at -7, which I found to be a really good size. And then positioning. Normally I start by taking my names and trying to center it on my monogram letter and get as close. Now you can shift it up and down, left and right to fit, but I'm going to leave it for here. This actually should work pretty good. Now I'm going to go back to my wireframe mode, and I'm going to take my name and I'm going to add an offset. Now I'm going to show you what I did to do this. I start with 0, so that it's basically sitting on top of the letters, and I slowly make it bigger so that all my characters are joined together. Looks like 4 will work just fine. If I go 5, maybe that's a little too much, but 4 seems to work pretty good. So I'll leave it there. Now I have a choice of bevel. I can do around, which doesn't really change much, and corner. Because my font is fairly round, I could have left it at round or corner. It wouldn't have made that much of a difference. But other fonts, you want to change that so they have a nice smooth outline. I want to make sure it's selecting resulting objects. I want to get all those and optimize, simplify my results, press OK. Now I want to take that outline and I want to weld it to my monogram letter. That's this weld tool right here. Create a nice weld. Now I have a bunch of little bits and pieces I want to get rid of. They're just not nice. So I'm going to ungroup everything. I'm going to zoom in and get rid of some of these little odds and ends that I don't really need. Don't really need them. And they'll show up better when I go to the So there's a little piece right here, maybe not need that. Now, I can always clean up more of these pieces later on. So let's go back to my wireframe mode and let's just see how that's going to work. Maybe, oh, I have to ungroup. Okay, that's all. That's this one. All the little pieces that show up that you can actually select without selecting any part of the text are some things that you can remove. Okay, so far so good. So let's go back to fill mode, and that looks pretty good. And that will work well on a laser. However, if you're looking at how much time your laser is spending and all that burn pattern, there's a nice little next couple of steps that I like to do. So I'm going to select my shape. I'm going to do another offset, only this time I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. See, if I go, so there's nothing, so there's my outline, there's no outline. Make a 1, and once again, leave the same settings as before, press OK, and I can have my text effect. Now, one thing that I've noticed on here is this fill portion right here on this T. So that's something you might want to clean up. If I back off a few steps, maybe I can clean that up a little bit. So let's see if I can clean that up. Oh, because it's joined here. That's the problem. Okay. So if I didn't have this, let's go back. If I position this, let's go into wireframe mode. It's easier to see. If I delete that and take my name and move it down a little bit. Now, repeat my steps. So as you see, you have to play with these designs as you go. And I think I had 4. Okay, now once again, we can see that I'm contacting that T. So can still, oops, I want to move the whole thing down just so it sits. Or I can shrink my font. Let's just, there, that works better. Okay, take my outline, join my letter. I still have a bit of a gap there. And I want to ungroup everything. Here are my little bits and pieces. And a little bit piece there. There. Set one there. Sometimes you have to zoom in to see all those little bits and pieces that are hanging around. Okay, so let's go to fill mode. And we can see that we have this. Now, this will work, as I said before, but I'm going to go through that last little step, and I'm going to create my outline. And once again, I'm going to run into that same problem with the spot right here. So I'm going to switch to fill mode. Oops. Actually, I fixed it this time. And there's my monogram text, stacked text, all about welding. Oops, I forgot to do this. I gotta back off a few steps. I forgot one little piece here. Do my outline one more time. Set. There we go. And that's pretty good. So I can now take this and all the dimensions, put it on my laser, and engrave a nice little monogram for anybody that wants something nice. So hopefully that explains how I do some of the things that I do, and what I like about this final design that I created was I have an outline around everything, and the words, the names Fred and Wilma, are all filled in. It's all that welding and offsetting that does all that magic for me. So thank you, and if I get a chance I will create a part 2 for this video and engrave that monogram on a sample piece of wood.